All right, so a little different, a little different. James has been around. I love to hear this guy talk and talk about his story, but he's added a twist to the story, as at one point he got very disillusioned with our organization. And so, and he's not disillusioned with it now, or I wouldn't have him on here. I wouldn't have somebody talking junk about me. But kind of take us back, James. You know, people didn't expect you to succeed. People didn't expect you to have a corporate job. Matter of fact, a lot of people thought you'd be dead by now. True that, James?
Absolutely. So I'm James Coleman. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. Grew up in a 2-bedroom house with 11 brothers and sisters. So when I tell you we was poor, yeah, we was poor. Absolutely. I mean, here's when I realized we was really, really poor. When I had to go to school with holes in the bottom of my sneakers, and my mom said to take the cereal bag out of the box, cut the cardboard, and put it in the sole of your sneaker and go to school. At that point, I knew we was really, really, really poor. So yeah, growing up in the hood, made some bad choices in life. I was told that I would be dead or in prison by the time I was 21 years old. You know, and to be frankly honest with you, at that time, you know, time I turned 21, I had already been shot twice. You know, growing up in the streets, and so we have 3 kids. My oldest is 32 years old. She has a master's in mental health, drug and alcohol, and family counseling. She runs her own practice doing that. I have a 23-year-old son, you know, who's a store manager with Foot Locker. And then our little girl, she just started college, and she's in school to be a pilot. You know, I was the district manager for Best Buy. I was with Best Buy for 13 years. But back, I had 7 stores in Manhattan, 2 in Queens, 2 in the Bronx, responsible for $570 million in revenue a year and growing. Back in 2010, my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer. She had to have both breasts removed and reconstructed. She underwent 9 surgeries in less than 2 years. This part is what really got me. One day I was at work, and my daughter at the time, she was 5. She called me and said, "Daddy, mommy's at home throwing up. What do you want me to do?" And it messed me up because I was all the way in New York and we lived in New Jersey. And I knew at that point I had to do something to get my wife to around a better support system. So I had a conversation with my boss, and he said, "Hey, look, let's have this conversation after the quarter. You know, we inventory time, the fiscal year's ending. Cool, not a big deal." So I sit down with him and asked him, "Can you transfer me to Miami or down to Georgia so I can get my wife around a better support system?" And he said to me, "James, you have New York #1 in the company for the past 7 years straight. I don't think this is a good time for us to have this conversation. Let's revisit this conversation a year or 2 from now." And my reply to him was, "Hey, look, man, I'm going to get up and lead this meeting because I'm going to say something to you. You're not going to like it. You're going to say something back to me, and I can promise you it's going to go left real fast." You know, and so I left the meeting, called my wife's doctor, asked her would she approve me taking a leave of absence. She said, "Yes, you're your wife's caregiver." And that day, I made a decision to walk away from a $165,000 a year salary job. With bonuses, Andy, I was capping $200,000. But I cannot put a price tag on my wife. That's why I made a decision to leave. So we came down to Georgia. And I don't know about anybody else, but you got money saved up and you still spending it like it's coming in, but it's not. It goes real, real fast. And so what happened, my wife and I, we found ourselves in a situation where as though we did not have enough money to figure out how we was going to pay the bills because everything was gone. I'm talking about looking through couches for change to figure out how we're going to feed our daughter, garbage can being repossessed, cars being repossessed. And when the garbage can got repossessed, I remember my wife calling me and said they took the garbage can. I'm like, well, maybe they're going to give us a new one. I don't know. So I called the company, and they said, no, Mr. Coleman, we took the can because you didn't pay the $35. When you pay the $35, we will return the garbage can. We did not have $35 to pay it. You know, and so it was really, really bad. I mean, I had to return a vacuum cleaner to the store in order to give my daughter a Christmas. That's how bad of a situation my wife and I was in. And as far as the car being repossessed, I will never forget it because my wife did not want to go to the Super Bowl party. I wanted to go. It's a Super Bowl party, right? And so we go to the Super Bowl party, and some man knocks on the door and asks who owns the gray Jeep. And they said, oh, that's Angie's truck. So they go and get my wife in a house full of people. And the guy said, that's your gray truck? My wife said, yes. She said, well, we're taking it. We came looking for the person across the street truck, but they ain't home. Yours popped up in the computer system, so we taking it. I'll let you, look like you got a car seat back there. I'll let you take that out the car. Talking about embarrassing? Embarrassing was an understatement. And we thought we had did good by hiding the truck for a minute, but this one particular day, you know, my wife ain't let me live it down because she didn't want to go anyway, right? And so my brother-in-law gave me a car to get home, but he didn't tell me that when you turn, you got a hold on the door because it's going to fly open. So I almost fell out the car driving home that day. And I told my wife, I'm not going to work for nobody else again. And my wife said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. And she said, go call Eric. Eric was my buddy, let him rest in peace. He tried to introduce this insurance business to me when I first got to Georgia in 2012. And I said no because I thought I was too good. I was this corporate guy and everything. And so I told my wife, I'm not calling Eric. He sells life insurance. My wife said, boy, if you don't get in that room and call Eric, it's going to be a problem. I said, okie dokie, happy wife, happy. So I called him up. And here's my exact words to him. Are you still doing life insurance? He said, yes. Are you still making six figures? He said, yes. I said, do I have to harass friends and family to make money? He said, no, we got leads. I said, I'm in. And I think the very next day, Andy, you came in town with Andy Riddle, Stephen Davies, so I got to see the presentation, and I was hearing how much money these people was making, and I was jacked out of my mind. I'm like, selling life insurance? So when I get home, the wife is laying in the bed. I said, babe, I found it. Again? I said, no, this is life insurance. This is different. I got it. And so I went on and paid the $50 for the course. Now, the next problem was we were so broke, I did not have $90 to schedule the state exam. So I had to borrow the $90 to take the state exam. My dumb behind failed the test by 1 point. And I said, I don't have another $90 to take this exam. Now, in the state of Georgia, you have to wait 2 weeks before you take it again. So I'm an outside the box kind of thinker, Andy. So I called the school up and I said, hey, look, I took your course and I failed the exam. There's questions on there that's not in your course. They said, Mr. Coleman, we're going to pay for you to take it again. I said, okay, that works for me then because I don't have the money, right? And so, so they paid for me to take my state exam again. And I took it and passed it. And then I realized that I now had to pay for the license itself and pay for fingerprints. So once again, I didn't have the money for that. So I borrowed the money again. I'm like, I told my sister, I promise I'm going to pay you back because this is going to work. And so my first 30 days in the business, I made about $8,000. My good buddy Terry Edwards had just got started with me. He was my running buddy when we first got started. We would call each other, talk about how the day went. And there was some times that Terry and I had even went to the same house, you know, And, but here's the problem, Andy. I made that $8,000 in like the first 30 days, but 2 months later, all of it charged back. And I said, doggone it. My wife said, I think you might have to go get a job. I said, no, I'm doing something wrong. And I knew it was something I was doing wrong, that it wasn't the system or anything. It was me, James Coleman. And I realized I was doing stuff to people as opposed to doing stuff for people. And I knew I had to correct that. And I corrected. So that year, the year in 2015, I finished off making about $63,000 that year, made Rookie of the Year and everything. And I remember getting that award for Rookie of the Year, and I was just jacked out of my mind over that, right? Had won a trip, had won every trip that I had been with the Alliance. And my first full calendar year made about $160. Second full calendar year made about $273. And then in 2019, I thought the grass was greener on the other side, Andy. So I left.
Okay, hold on.
I got to tell you.
Let's stop. Let's just a couple highlights. So from shot a couple times, who knows what else? Somehow you figured out how to be in charge of 11 Best Buys.
Yes.
And how much were they compensating you to be in charge of 11 Best Buys?
$165,000 was my salary before bonuses.
And you usually got some bonuses.
Yeah, what bonuses? I was topping 200.
And then you walked away from it, and you hit kind of a bad financial position if you couldn't pay for your trash cans.
Bad? I'm trying to find another word that's worse than bad, but it was really, really bad.
So you joined us, made $8,000 the first month. Then they took it all back because you didn't do it right.
That's exactly what happened.
And then within 3 years, or how many years was it before you making back 300,000 or 275? How many years?
My very first full calendar year, I made about $160. The second year, I made 273. Second full calendar year, I made 273.
Is that when you walked away from us, or was it a few years later when you walked away?
It was the following year. It was the following year after that.
So you went boom, 60.
It's about 2 years after that. About 2 years after that, I walked away.
Boom, 160. Boom, 275. Boom, 280. And you're doing better than you ever did.
Yes.
How are you being treated as far as like, did we, do trips with you and bite you to dinner and stuff like that? Or was we cold to you?
Yeah, I was on the jet with you before, Andy, been at your house and everything. The trips was fantastic. And I tell you, just being a little black boy from the hood, from the straight gutter, being in Switzerland was just everything for me, Andy, because we at the Montreux Palace, and I'm on the balcony drinking coffee overlooking the Swiss Alps on Lake Geneva, and I'm like, wow, how did I get here? In fact, I even shot a video at the time out there because it was just so amazing that to be even able to do that kind of stuff, and then to go take a boat to go to have dinner in the castle in the middle of Lake Geneva. It was just mind-blowing, completely mind-blowing.
All right, so I'm still trying to be real clear on this because not everybody follows the story as good as I do. So you moving up, didn't get mad at us, but you dang sure was told that there was better opportunity in the same business. Insurance,
absolutely.
You just been treated wrong, James. They holding you back. You can get more biscuits over here. We'll scratch your back. You ain't gonna believe the platform. And you went, okay.
I went okay, and I got to be honest, my wife wasn't with it, but I thought I knew everything. It sounded really, really good. They was dangling that carrot, and I was liking what I saw. And went around to about 4 different organizations, and now I just got to the point that I was just so frustrated with it that I kept my license active, but I had stopped doing insurance about a year and a half and everything. And one day I told my wife, hey, look, I'm going to call Andy and go back to NAA. And she was like, no, you're not. I said, oh, yes, I am. So back in June, I sent you a text message, right? And you replied back, this D. James Coleman. I was like, yeah, this is me. What you want, Bo? Hey, look, I want to come back. And you immediately gave me a call and welcomed me back. And one of the things my wife always say to me is that she appreciates my humility and not having an ego that whereas though I couldn't pick the phone up and reach out to you and ask to come back. And so you said yes, came back, got started, Andy, the week before we went to a family reunion. And I got to tell you, nobody does it like NAA. From the system, the infrastructure, you know, the camaraderie, the people, nobody does. And I'm saying this because I done left and been out there and came back. I went to family reunion and I came back. I was so jacked up because I hadn't been to an event like that in almost 4 years. And like, this is what I'm missing. And coming back, you know, the first 2 months back, Andy, I made $51,000. I'm like, man, this is where it's at, right?
James, welcome back. I'm sorry that we didn't do a better job when you were on the rise of communicating what could happen to you with promises. And maybe you can help get that message to people, because I know a young man right now, he was making $50,000 to $60,000 a year, working about 70 to 80 hours a week. He started working with us on a Friday afternoons. He would make phone calls and make sales on Saturday. And within 1 year, he was making more money on Saturdays than he was on his job. He quit with us. He continued to do well, but he fell into the same trap, and he works in selling gadgets or toenail clippers or something right now. And knowing how much money he made just working Saturdays, Friday he'll make phone calls Saturdays. I'm going to tell you this. My daddy talked about another thing that will mess men up. I ain't going to talk a little bit about that problem to mess men up. But the problem I want to talk about is ego. I wish ego had the same amount of letters as income. I-N, income, revenue. Nothing messes up a man's. People asked me about a guy the other day, and I said, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. What I should have said, and I might start saying this, his ego got in the way of his income. The 3 letters, how many letters of income got it? I-N-C-O-M-E. And the 3 letters got in front of the 6 letters. Am I touching on something, James?
Absolutely, and definitely touching on something. So if you say hindsight is 20/20. So when I look back at it in retrospect, I can honestly admit, that was me. And I'll be fully transparent with everybody on here today, Andy. You know, I took a commission cut to come back because that's how bad I need to be back home. And I was okay with that.
You did not take a commission cut. You got a commission increase. I'm negotiating right now with you. You took a commission increase. When you get more commission than you ever made in your life, you had a commission increase. Now on the other people's charts, they tell you you're going to get free biscuits, free back scratching, free CRM. You get paid higher on one sale. That's what they gave you, the little pinky, Bo. I'm being nice by showing you that finger right there. They gave you the little pinky, Bo.
I know, that's right.
You get paid higher on one sale. But all that other stuff, and that was true, on that one sale, you did make $27 more. Think about it. On that one sale, you do make $27 more. But when you look at the bank account, which is your commissions, I'm going to show you how to make 10x commissions. That, by the way, does this sound like me before you left me? I know I was saying the same thing I used to say, right?
Yeah. Yes,
We used to
sir.
we used to tell people, they say, I want a 90% commission. We say 90% of nothing is zero. Let me give you another one. 70% of nothing is zero. And if you only had a commission of 227%, 227% of zero is nothing. And if with you people you hate, you don't hanging around, you ain't getting paid, carriers won't work with you, you got no CRM, you got no system, nobody cares. All they want to do is scream at you for buying leads. Buy $2,000 worth of leads. Come to my meeting and, oh my God, we're the greatest thing. Well, then how come nobody's happy? How come you don't have a little body? How come you don't have an Andy Riddle? How come you don't see what I'm saying? Like, I talk about Adam Katz. Guy's been with me 33 years. What do you want me to tell you? Look how he lives. Alex Abian, me and him been through so much junk and disagreements and agreements and differences of opinions. When people let the ego run their life, they think they're smarter. You headed for a downfall. All right? Okay. I just got on a soapbox. I'm going to step off my, y'all don't even know where soapbox coming from. I'm going to get off the soapbox. You got shot 2 times, James?
Yeah, I got shot 2 times, Andy, and picked the bullet out of my leg as well.
Does that mean they hit you 2 times or you got shot at 2 times?
No, hit 2 times.
Where at? Leg, obviously.
Up bottom right leg and top right thigh.
Pretty lucky, dude.
2
Lucky
different
day.
occasions.
You pretty lucky. Pretty lucky.
Pretty lucky.